Okay, people, welcome back to another Playday. Oh, and this is a massive one. Not in terms of number of custom or Playday items, but the size of them. I'm calling this the Diorama Playday, or the set piece, the background, the centerpiece Playday. Because these are, well, okay, these are big, but not as massive as this High School Creations Wall XD. And we'll get to all that. I'll have all the links in the description, and you can go check out the people, or the link to the Mystery Machine is just a store-bought item. But, hey, we'll talk about it as we go. First, let's take a quick look at this basic fun Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. Again, I know I did a short on this a few months back, but I thought it was worth bringing back out since we're talking dioramas and set pieces. Plus, I get to break out the Jada Toys Scooby-Doo Wave 1 Shaggy again, like I needed an excuse. Now, this is 95% the same as the first release of this Mystery Machine that came out during the Scoob movie 5 years ago. It has the same body, the same wheels, mostly the same colors. I do find the Mystery Machine logo on this newer... We'll get to the sound effect thing here in a minute. The colors on the Mystery Machine logo here on the new release is slightly brighter than the original. This is a darker orange. Same spare tires on front, the same license plate around on back. There's the tail lights, license plate again. Oh, I just noticed that the new release has finer lines to the white around Scooby Snack. There's also a difference to the blues on the license plate. The original release is more prominent. The doors on the back still open like the original, but unfortunately the doors still don't open, which was the same on the initial release. The only big difference is the Scoob movie had all this gear up on top. This satellite dish and the radar and this tank and the surfboards and the extra lights. On this newer release, it's more classic. It feels like the original cartoons with the sleek look with just a couple of bars there. Which makes sense because the packaging was branded Scooby-Doo instead of Scoob Movie. I guess they figured, hey, we have the mold and it is pretty sweet. Let's put it out there again. Like I accidentally featured a minute ago, there is electronics involved. You push the spare tire and there's lights and sound. Well, that wasn't near as exciting as... I wish it broke into the theme song after that, but you can't win them all, huh? On this new one, still have the button, still looks like clear LEDs on the headlights. There is speaker holes, the screw for a battery compartment that came with batteries, but mine didn't work out of the package. Even after I replaced the batteries. At first I thought they were dead, since maybe it had been sitting around for a while. I don't know when this actually released, but no. Which I'm kind of okay with because more often than not, when I'm messing with this or putting it in the display or putting figures in front of it, I'm going to hit that. It does stick out past the nose a bit, so if you just bump it into something, yeah, it goes off. But it would have been nice for it to work because while the original was about $20 retail, I found this at Walmart. This one seems to be $50 to $55 everywhere I've seen it online. We're always talking about prices going up and how it affects the big companies. Well, it's even affecting small companies. I'm assuming Basic Fun's a small company. I had never heard of it until the Scoob stuff. Of course, what do I know? They probably do. I should probably research more, but yeah, $55, $20. I could have probably stripped all this off, but this is way cleaner. And again, I go for that nostalgic classic vibe. Thankfully, Shaggy is pretty dang articulated because you have to work through the window. Because again, the doors don't open. And there's not a whole hell of a lot of leg space down there. So you have to kind of fudge it. still, you get there, and you get there, and you get there. I think that looks pretty dang good. Oh, how about this? Even better. Jada Toys announced a Scooby-Doo for their Scooby-Doo line at San Diego Comic-Con, but until then, I'll use the Scoob movie Scooby that came with this van. It also has a Shaggy, but I don't need that. It's this. Look at that. Look at it. It's so good. Not the most articulated, but I guess it'll suffice for now. Don't keep me waiting, Jada. Something else that I've already shown on a short but wanted to get more in-depth with is this Supreme Intelligence from Evil Guppy figures. Sure, this is a character, but it is permanently within a diorama, right? I mean, adding this to the shelf, it's more environment. It's more of a set piece. It's more background because of its size, and it's not posable, it's not movable, so that's what I'm calling it. Diorama. Plus, I'll probably feature it again in the upcoming Marvel Play Day, because it is a character. It's double duty! Right? But just look at this thing. It's one of those characters. It's one of those things from the Marvel Universe. It's something that I've been wanting for a long, long time, and I've thought about customizing at times, but I would have never come up with something this intricate or detailed. The top and the bottom are 3D printed, and it has some detail to it. These triangle parts coming up and these studs, but not enough to bring your focus to them hardcore. They just look like the metal ends for a big tube holding this big head with tentacles going up. And really, that's what draws your eye, because of the greens and the yellows and the paint job and the darker green and just the look itself. It's alien and it's interesting. But if you're into the comic books, you know this is very important to the cosmic storylines. And it looks awesome in toy form. These black parts on the top and bottom are also 3D printed in order to hold the actual glass. It's open on both ends. So the 3D prints close it off, and then the head is adhered to the top. There's nothing down here, so it's a neat effect. Even better, if you look up in there, there are LEDs with a USB cable coming out. Plug that in, and oh, that's icing on cake, baby. In fact, let's make it a little bit darker. Does that have a switch? That one? No, it doesn't, does it? But just turning off those two lights allows these LEDs to do their thing. Casting light down, shadows coming up from the eyes and everything. Just so much more dynamic. Look at the ambiance. This is an excellent centerpiece for a Marvel Cosmic shelf. The Supreme Intelligence has never cracked my top 150 characters I want in action figure form, if not more, to 250. But like I mentioned, it's always been a custom project in the back of my brain that has never manifested. Thankfully, there's way more talented people out there on the internet to do things like this. And if you're interested in a Supreme Intelligence, go check out Evil Guppy on Etsy. I have the links in the description.
The Kree will reign supreme. This is a weird way to do a voice.
The next adventure all spiraled out of this bucket I got from New York Rebel at Legions Con last year. Because hey, it's a nice looking bucket. Why wouldn't you want to use this somewhere? And when I featured this in the Legions Con Play Day, I specifically said I was ecstatic to get this because I could use it with the Drunk Gizmo Customs diorama I would eventually get, whether it be a well or a fountain, and now that day has come. Because look at this craziness, and I love things like this because my brain cannot comprehend how this is achieved. I know that parts are styrofoam. There are some actual wood parts like this dowel that runs across here. Some of this may be foam painted to look like wood, but then we get to the shingles and the wear and tear up there and the moss and grass growing in places. Well, I say growing, it's created. It's artistically made to look like actual grass, but you know, it's stuff glued in and the paint work on the stone to add actual age to it. People who can do this, or this design work in the stone with the cracks and the lines and the different sizes and the angles and such, that just mesmerizes me. And then to remember to make metal rivets here, like this is an actual well with these posts mounted to the side of stones. This lid that closes off the well is styrofoam, scored and painted to look like wood and kind of rusty metal holding it all together. But taking that off opens up even more wonders, because is that resin dried in the bottom with some blue to it to make it look like actual well water? And then you have the moss and grass growing up out of that too. I feel like the blue was a very conscious choice, because the person who now has this in his possession kind of likes the color blue. Even looking up inside the roof, it's got some details to it and more foliage. That is absolutely wondrous though. It looks like something should be swimming around in there. Let's see if I can tie an itty bitty knot. Holy shit, I did it. Look at that. How kick-ass is that? And I'm probably gonna leave it on there even if I have the lid on, because yeah. Or bring it down off to the side like this. Works just as well. Oh, but that's not all. To set the scene even more, this table was included. And again, just like the lid over here, styrofoam. And it's made to look like a stump just coming out of the forest floor. And it has the bark all sculpted into it. And then the top, planks, wood grain, metal, but it's all foam. I have a feeling I'm gonna need a floor of some kind that's woodsy. Or I can go off into my own woods, you know, and do some forced perspective or some cheating to put this on the ground in the dirt, have the trees in the background, maybe some grass, some clumps in places. This further back. Oh, see, that's the sign of some good custom work. It gets the gears creaking up here for pictures, which I'm not really great at, but if I've got the correct tools at hand, then it makes that process easier. But that's still not all. There's also this crazy thing. Same process as the other pieces. This is mostly foam, as far as I can tell, everywhere, except for the water coming down. This is maybe hot glue that made to look like water rushing out of the mouth. And then again, that may be resin with some blue tint to it, but I love how the sense of motion, the white water coming across and then splashing on the sides of the well or the fountain, the badass skull, and a couple of things that took me a minute to recognize. That's not me disparaging the work at all. That's me having trouble being observant. You know, you watch this channel long enough, or some of you have watched this channel long enough that it usually takes me a couple of seconds to catch on or to see things. But some people have to go, hey, dummy, it's right there in front of your face. There's also something to be said about the subtleness. At first, I thought this jutting out above it was a roof or something to keep the debris out of the fountain. But then I realized, oh, there's a brim to that. That is a stone cap. Oh, and before we move away from it, there's even some wetness to it. That is not wetness. It's just made to look wet. I thought, oh, if that's a cap, then, oh, yup, there is a beard under there. So it's not super obvious, especially when you're looking from the front, right? I mean, skull, water, stone, this grass again. I love that this seems like it's been hidden away. It hasn't been disturbed in decades. Plus the grays and the greens and the blues are just a nice color scheme. Years ago, if you had told me, oh, people are going to send custom of you because the beard, the hat makes it distinct. I guess it's the trademark at this point. But people sending in custom heads and figures and now fountains is just... it kind of leaves me speechless. I'm going to need some more diorama storage shelf space because I'm running out, which is not a bad thing. Again, like I said, the more you have on hand, the easier it is to be creative with that kind of thing. Which, That's amazing. And then lastly, we're gonna take a look at Wall XD from High School Creations. And if I sound weird, it's because I had to move my microphone out of the way for this big sumbitch. Now there's tons of options to put this thing together. You can see that this is a section, then a section, then a section, section, and section. And this is actually another set that is the exact same pieces. I've just swapped some things out. If I had the space, I would have taken this set and put it on this end to make it kick back, and then I'd take this piece and make it a continuation of the block, making this longer, essentially twice as long. But I don't have that kind of space, so I decided to go up. And that's a simple matter of the connectors going into the top of the first wall instead of down into the sidewalk piece, which is also included with Wall XD. And then it's neat because some of these bricks, which is kind of hard to, well, okay, you can see that one and this one right here, those pop out, and then there's accessory sets like these air conditioners, or well, these mini split units on the outside, and then these lights can plug into the brick holes, and these electrical boxes. I also put a couple of lights in the side alley. Actually, pulling it out, you can see it's a tab, and it's a simple matter of, well, avoiding my microphone. Is it making all kinds of sound? It's not detailed on the back, but it does give you access to swapping things out. You can see the tab system to pull things off, like this end piece tab. And then things like the bricks. You just get something tough and push right there, and it'll eventually pop. It's kind of tough right out of the box. You do have to push pretty damn hard at first to get the tabs to pop out, but once you've done it a couple times, it gets easier. There's also down tabs for the sidewalk that also work as adding stories to it. This is also a separate piece that snaps into the top of the window. You remove these two bricks and just slap on the overhead door. And going to the second floor, it's easy to see. There's a removable brick there and there. And if you want a window, you can also pop that out too. And you saw me just knock that out. These are plastic. I don't really have any worries about something breaking, especially how hard I've got on some of those tabs to pop them out. So I'm pretty confident that these aren't going to snap. I'm not sure if this is hand painted though. Again, I hit that with my fingernail and I don't see anything, so we'll just put that back into there. Try to do it blind from the back. Did I get it? I don't know if I did. Oh, there we go. Okay. Snaps right back in. And I like having the door there on bottom because it's an entryway and it looks different from the window above it. So yeah, that'll work. And like I said, a good diorama makes photography easier or more tempting to do. And especially because of the size here. I can have Spider-Man crawling up the side. I could have somebody peeking through the window. I could just have people standing on the streets. I could add civilians, NPCs coming out of the alleyway, actually. Ooh, let's do this. Is he back in the dark? How dark can you get back there? Oh, you thought it was Sabretooth, didn't you, motherfucker? The way I have it set up is a bit cumbersome, but again, that's the only way I can fit it in here. Maybe once I clear off the big table up front, eventually I can spread it out a little bit. Oh, and use that as this, and then have the lights coming down. Okay, I've got a plan. So essentially, at the end of the day, any day you get to play is a good dang day. It's overwhelming. In a good way, not in a bad, oh god, just the talent of people, the customs, the production items, the things we find in our day-to-day life, or hunting things online to make us happy, to do a little playing, to take us back to a more innocent time, to enhance your hobby or your shelf, your photography, your posing, just whatever you want to do. That's what it comes down to. As long as you're having fun, I think you're doing it right. That's what Playdays are all about. That's why I have a few more coming. This is just the tip of the... this right here is just the tip of the iceberg. Or, well, there's a lot more playing to be done. How about that? Bye.